Downhill racing looks like an individual sport. One rider on the track against the clock. But of course it takes a team of people just to get them to that start line, never mind onto the podium. People like line spotters, mechanics, chefs, the list goes on. But how does it all come together? We've been given the chance to take a look behind the curtain at the Orbea FMD Racing team, see what it takes to run a World Cup race-winning team. But first, let's head back in time from the first World Cup here in Poland to Blake in the HQ at Wales to have a look around.
For 2025, FMD have moved up to factory team status, thanks to their deal with Orbea. It's a far cry from how things were when the team was first started all those years ago. And who better to talk to than the man who started it all, Tony Seagrave.
Everyone has a go at me, right, when we're having excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. I'm doing a interview.
Oh, and you can hear us?
Yes. So, where was I? FMD began because, well, back when we started, there wasn't the amount of sponsorship there is now for girls in sport. And I'm saying girls now, you know, we're talking about women, but obviously at the time, Tahne was like 15, 16, pushing towards wanting to race World Cups.
We knew a lot of people in the industry because my parents ran a chalet in Saint-Jean-d'Or, which is like 10 minutes from Morzine, in the summer, and we met Nigel Page and Vanessa Quinn, who was a professional downhill mountain biker. We were just kids and we loved seeing them, and they loved like taking us riding with them, so they were able to ask their sponsors or give us some parts, and it was all about beg, borrowing and stealing at the time, so it kind of started from there.
So we just decided to give it a go ourselves and wondered whether we could make it happen. And the first year,
me and my dad were just in a tent camping. We were like that for years, but we would go to the Mom Avalanche races, and I loved it. There was nothing more to it than just simply me loving racing my bike, and I was begging my dad to go racing.
There was a lot of teething problems in the beginning. There was a lot of learning curves, as you say. You know, my background, I had been a sports manager in soccer, and I kind of knew what I was dealing with, but obviously I'm dealing with family now. We quietly kind of built up over the years, and I tried to learn as much as I could, and we made loads of mistakes. You know, loads of mistakes. There's everything from registrations to
a van that broke down every time, like, you know, €500 van that
not having enough fuel in the cars. I've literally done it all, and those mistakes are what have now brought us to knowing and being able to run the team as efficiently as possible. So I'm so glad for those early years. When
I was younger, and I was just always chasing more, I guess, and my dad's very much like that. He never settles and always wants to go big. It
just grew. You know, it went from there, from just me, her and a mechanic, to then becoming a World Cup team. We needed another rider, so we got another rider, and then we expanded on that. And yeah, from very humble beginnings came to where we are now, and it's just evolved over the years, and that's why we started it. And it was the emails that went out were, you know, could you help this young girl follow her dream? And that's where FMD, you know, came from. Now we have 17 members of staff, including riders. I have to book accommodation and flights for 17 members of staff when they're going from A to B, where they're going to be. The logistics of running the team now is tenfold of what it was back in the day, and that alone can take me weeks to sort out because of, you know, and then you're always thrown in something else. Now it's not just going racing with my kids. You know, it's ensuring we do everything correct legally and efficiently, and saving as much money as I can while I'm doing it, really. That's basically what I'm trying to do all the time.
I guess we've always been a B team in a way. That's not specifically true, because when we were on transition, we were their A team. But we've never been like a factory functioning team. Like, we've never had the budget that these other factory teams have had. And I know my My dad's really good at polishing a turd, and we've always looked the part, and you know, he's amazing for that. But behind the scenes, it's been quite a struggle financially, especially as we've always wanted to kind of go big. And I guess as a rider now, I was quite valuable. So to stick to a B team was really hard to get investments for all the riders and the staff that's required to run a team.
And now we're with Orbea. It's become a lot easier, logistics-wise, of bikes and parts. It's become a lot easier for me and for the team, because everything is just connected that little bit more. Now we know that ordering parts and bikes, it's a more fluid way of working, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. And it's a breath of fresh air working with Orbea and setting everything up.
And now with this year, with the new Orbea truck, like, oof, it's going to be mad. I was like, oh, I'm not really going to go to World Cup this year because I'm just busy doing other stuff. And then I was like, saw the lorry and saw all the plans of how that's going to look. I'd be like, oh, actually, I might come to one and chill in that for a week. So I can't wait to see that. And that's what's cool to see, like the evolution of how it's been from where it was to how it is now.
I think having the bigger team set up maybe puts a little bit more pressure on everyone, because there's less excuses, if you like. Like, it's more, you're there to do this job and that's it. So you can't mess that up. Whereas prior, you're doing a million things and it's only a little team. It doesn't matter if you forgot to buy some bread or, I don't know, something like that, something little. Whereas now you're just working on the bike, and obviously the bike, it just isn't something you can mess up. You can't leave a bolt loose.
It's kind of unbelievable to us that we're like, wow, we're like an actual factory team now. Like, we're an A team. You know, we're the ones developing the bikes. We're the ones that are in direct contact with the brands. We're the first choice. It's big for us. It's huge. And there's a lot of stress that's come with it, because we are still a family team. So work bleeds into personal life. But we've had a good few years to get used to that.
The biggest challenge of running a team is people. I don't know whether I'm a good judge of character or a bad judge of character, I don't know, but I find when I really warm to somebody, I feel as though that they, you know, like interviews for me is it's not what's down on the paper, it's whether I can genuinely warm to them, because I know that I've got to be with them for some of the most intense times we're going to have. You know, you'll never have that intensity in a normal job. You know, these guys work 7 days a week, and it builds up and it builds up, and you know, the whole drama and the stress and everything builds up towards the end of the week, and you have to be able to turn around and know that all of those people are working together for the end result.
We live and breathe it. We don't leave the race, come home and switch off. We leave the race, come home, argue over dinner at what went wrong at the race or what went wrong in the team. And then the next day you sort it.
Bringing riders into the team, I'd say at the start it was quite difficult, because it's nature nurture, isn't it? You know, I'm going to want more for my kids than I want for anyone else's. You know, it's just the way it is. And I think as long as I was honest in that towards myself and anyone else, then that's fine. But if anyone excelled, you know, that's all you've got to do with me. If you prove yourself that this is what you're going to do, it doesn't matter whether you're related to me or not. You know, I'm going to provide everything for you. You know, not only that, I'll provide everything for you up to that point as well. You know, but then afterwards, pushing forward, it's when you dig deeper. It's when, you know, and this might sound weird, but it's when you put into your own pocket, because you want to see that person succeed. You know, it's providing everything I can.
So back when a future with Orbea became an option to FMD Racing, of course, as you can imagine, there initially were some doubts. Quite simply, Orbea didn't have a downhill bike, and we're a downhill team that want to win downhill races. And so there was a lot to unpack.
It was a bit of love at first sight, to be honest with you. You know, meeting across a room and our eyes connected, and from there it just went on.
As soon as myself and Tony got in a room with Orbea, got on calls with Orbea, and the more we spoke with them, the more impressed we were by them. As we slowly started to learn their strategy for downhill, their strategy for racing, their strategy for us, and this ethos that surrounded Orbea.
We have the same vision, you know, the things that we want to achieve with the team and from what they want to achieve as a company, the way we operate. One of the things that amazes me about Orbea is pretty much how I run the team as well. We don't say we're going to do it, we just do it. Bringing Martin Mazin was totally new to me. But and this is again why I love the connection with Orbea, you know, what he's built with Orbea through enduro racing and then the initial developments of the downhill bike. Orbea didn't want to lose him. You know, they wanted him to be part of this family. Not just mine, but the Orbea family and then the Orbea FMD family. They wanted him to be part of it.
It's been good. A lot of changes, getting to know all the people, you know, but also mainly, you know, the biggest difference was the switch of discipline. You know, I've raced enduro for 12 years now. Moving to downhill is a big change, and I'm really excited about it.
So bringing Martin in it's new to me. He's got his ways of doing things. Certainly got some talent. He's won a World Cup in downhill, and then he transferred to enduro.
There is no really expectation, you know. It's a new team. It's a new brand coming into the downhill scene. It's a brand new bike as well. So, you know, we need to see how competitive we are.
So I want it to work probably more than even he does. You know, I want it to work from the team side of things. You know, he wants it to work from his personal level that he wants to achieve the results he wants. But I want it to work from a team point of view, and the fact that I want him to feel comfortable within the team and, you know, and allow him to do the best he can. Well, one of the things that I insisted on at the time is the fact that I wanted Kaos with us.
It just makes sense staying with the team. I'm still a part of it because obviously it's still like my family team really. So it'd be quite hard to go away from it. It gives me the chance to still go to a race and like be with the team for a week, and I like still get to do like some of the stuff with them, and then they get to like not just have the race sense of the team. Like they get stuff from Darkfest, like from Hardline, because I still do Hardline and stuff. So I'm still still racing, so I still like to be involved with that. And it just gives them a different platform of, yeah, like I was saying, just not just the racing side.
So when it comes to Kaos Seagrave, he is treated entirely independently to the race team. He is his own entity, he is his own athlete, and we have to ensure there's that perfect balance of Kaos being the free ride extension and the free ride arm of FMD Racing, but at the same time having the freedom to be entirely independent in what he does. So when it comes to that, again, the number one priority for me and for Tony and for the partners is that Kaos is the main voice of what he is doing, and ensuring that he's got the content and the support and the media to just be the voice of Kaos Seagrave and be the voice of everything that he's doing.
He's a phenomenal bike rider, and he's an exciting character to be around. And when he's in a good mood, he lifts everybody. When he's in a bad mood, I tell you, he can but no, when he's in a good mood, it's fantastic. And there's various races that he'll attend, and when he's there, he's really helpful to the team. I think he brings his own, you know, he's got his own fans as well, which he brings to the team, and it brings it to the brands as well, which is great.
So on FMD, we've got 5 riders and 4 mechanics. Generally, each rider has their own mechanic. It's the juniors that kind of get added on, so they share a mechanic. So Matt is Ollie and Dara's mechanic, so he works with both of them, and then all the other riders have their own individual mechanic. So everyone will do their own setups, and then they come up with their own kind of unique ideas that then we all feed back together, and that's when you kind of pick on common trends. So if Angus and Phoebe are feeling something and they've tried this, and Tahne is feeling something we're not sure what direction to go in, we can then pick up on their knowledge and implement that into our setup, which then more often than not helps things move forward just a little bit easier. Helps you get out of those kind of stuck situations, basically. There's a few teams within the team, I would say. So there's the team as a whole, of the FMD, of everyone. And then within that, you kind of have the rider and mechanics relationships. And then in Tahne's scenario, it's mechanic, Tahne, and Chris, her coach.
I'd like to think that in some ways, Orbea FMD are kind of at the forefront in terms of the health, well-being and athlete management side of things. So, you know, treating athletes as humans first and foremost, and as people humans that need to be super healthy to perform at their best. So to make sure we can do everything, whether that's from using the mouth guards to monitor potential concussions during a crash, doing the pre-season screening with blood work and medical and doctors and physios, right through to like kind of tailored support and tailored management of a race weekend for each individual rider. So I'd like to think we're kind of at the forefront of pushing that.
So the three of us all work quite closely together to try and help build something that she's happy with. Body comes a lot into how a bike works as well, where the weight of the person riding is the major factor. So things like that kind of overlap in coaching side of things to then bike setup side of things.
And then the other side of things, it's definitely race engineers. So many teams now have some sort of race engineer, some of them coming with motorsports backgrounds. So that level of analysis on the bikes, and then secondary or kind of on top of that, there'll be a lot of performance analysis as well, like genuine performance analysis. So analysing splits, data, and then pulling together the bike data with the body data. And
being a team is really important as well, because you're not alone. So you need to have that support, whether it's from Chris saying that or if it's from Tony saying something else. Tahne has a few people around her that she can really trust, and then has full confidence going into a race week, basically. The product that we bring for the race weeks is kind of ridiculous, really. It's quite a destructive sport, downhill mountain biking, especially on things like wheels. You've got to go prepared that you're going to break at least a few, like it's just going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. So we tend to bring at least one of everything spare for a rider, and then for the parts that are more prone to breaking or more prone to being replaced, we'd take a few more. So for wheels example, we'll have at least 3 wheels on the go at any one time, plus a load of spare rims that then can be replaced and swapped out as needed, basically.
I think in the year prior to Racing World Cups, we were in France, and Tahne was invited by Red Bull UK to come over and do a thing that was in conjunction with the Athertons. I had to build up Tahne's 2 bikes so that she could fly to the UK. But I was missing one part, and it was the star nut to put forks, headset and everything in. And trying to find that, back then, we lived near Morsing. Back then there weren't many bike shops. You know, there weren't many people that rode, funnily enough, you know, especially not locals. Scampered around to try and find this bit, and in the end, I think I took apart another bike and then put it all in. But to this day, I still won't get rid of a star nut. And those are, I know that's quite small in the grand scheme of things, you know, because we have had all the, like we were saying, you know, sleeping on the floors and various other things, but this one still reminds me, every time I see a star nut, it's that moment of, geez, look where we are now, you know, because I do genuinely have a tray full of star nuts.
Being in a situation of not having something is not an option. So it's way better to overpack than not. So we do end up taking a crazy amount of stuff. Things like tyres as well, they wear out to a point where they're not quite perfect pretty quickly. For a normal person, you can use a tyre for a year and it's fine, it doesn't really matter. But for racing, where you want every tiny little bit of grip you can get and every kind of watt of rolling resistance saved, you need it to be perfect, so they get replaced very often.
The way we work out our budgets is I kind of close my eyes and draw a number on the whiteboard and then try and achieve it. It's a fluctuating thing. You try and average it out, obviously. Last year, I think our accommodation for the whole season was about €24,000. And this year, I'd say 20% of it is due to an increase in size, but we're looking at about 60-odd thousand euros for this year's accommodation. That's in 2025. And it's a struggle to hit because you plan, you budget, you get in the sponsorship for that, and then all of these numbers which start coming in, it's crazy. Staffing costs, which we have added to staff as well, goes up probably 40%, which is crazy. But again, you need to try and do all that. Flights. Now you've started me off. Flights, fuel, food, everything has gone up.
With a factory team, yes, there is more security when you become a factory team, and there's no point beating around the bush. There's more budget that's involved and that sort of thing. But at the same time, you still have to go out and get independent partners. You still have to go out and get independent and bespoke sponsors for the team. The more partners, the better, really, in regards to it makes everyone's life easier.
When you're at a race, you have to pay for the area that you take up. So 2024, you got, I think it was 80 square metres free of charge. Most pit setups are at least 180 square metres. And then you have to pay for electricity, you have to pay for water, all the services that you need to run a race team. 2025, it's all included, up to 200 square metres. But obviously the costs come, per year it's now more expensive to actually enter the races, but those things are included. It's just, it is expensive to go racing. And that's the thing, but we're promoting the brands and we're trying to win races, and that's what we do. But it's the same in any sport. God, don't take me down that little rabbit hole now, isn't it? It's like, why do we do it? Well, sport's amazing, isn't it? Sport is amazing. It lifts you in no other way. It takes you down in no other way, and it lifts you in no other way. So.
Tony Seagrave down the line. Tony Seagrave goes fastest, and Kaos go beyond him by 1.7 seconds. Tony Seagrave with that. Team manager celebrates at the bottom. Huge ride from Tony Seagrave at round 1.
So when it comes to the physical branding of the team, there is so much to think about, and luckily I don't get as involved in that as Tony does. I leave that to Tony and Tony's vision. Tony always has such an incredible vision for the logo placement and the design and kind of the physical look of the team.
Everyone says we're Formula One. We're not Formula One, but the way that's approached and the way it's perceived from the outside world, that's the way I want our team to be perceived, and I always have. I love the fact that, my riders all wear something a little bit different, when Kaos is around and that, but I love the staff I want us to be noticed when we're somewhere. So yeah, kit ordering is another thing that just adds to the list, and it's trying to get it right, and it's I do some custom stuff here ourselves just to make sure that it looks right and make sure that everything connects.
But there is so much to think about, because in changing to Orbea FMD Racing, it isn't as simple as, one logo moves this way, one logo moves up. It's a clean slate. So every single element of FMD Racing branding has to be changed and has to be thought about, and has to be designed in a way that also has a theme as well, in regards to also bleeding in Orbea, bleeding in their branding, and then holding on to this, to the FMD Racing traditional pink and traditional sort of image as well. So Tony's had a huge amount to do in that way.
I personally think if you've got a vision for something and you've got the tenacity to go for it, then just do it. And that's what's led us to where we are now. It's not about the knowledge you have in the first place, it's how far you want to go to get there, how many hours you're going to put in to actually do it, and that's what it's there. So, I've got the tattoo of some say I'm a dreamer, but I just want to keep dreaming, and I'm not going to stop until I'm 6 foot under.
Yeah, I don't feel any direct pressure from the team, but I do feel like I needed to perform to kind of give back to my dad, I guess. My mum and dad have dedicated their entire lives to my career and my brothers. So I guess that, in a way, I want to win to prove to them that it's been worth putting all this in, even if to them that's not the outcome that they particularly need from me.
I want us to be the #1 team in the world. I want us to have a following outside of the sport. I want people to look in and think, yeah, that's cool. I want to have a future development as well, a proper future development where we can help kids get up to the top level, you know, no matter what their background is as well. You know, I want to be able to help them get to where they want to go. It's quite tough, especially with youngsters, because obviously they get to those teenage years and things can change. But I want to put in a support network for that. I want to ensure that there's a support network for all of our athletes as well, of the highest level. We try and do as much as we can, but we're still looking to improve all the time. But yeah, I want to have the fastest rider in the world in all categories.